Steve, it was cold at the weekend, then we had a couple of warmer days, it's gone cold again.
Yeah.
Have you been able to train okay this morning?
Yeah, no training. We haven't had a problem with training, but yeah, the weather can't make up its mind what it's doing at the moment, so we never quite know where we are from day to day. But yeah, no, we've had no problems with training at all.
And if that's a guide, because obviously the pitches are of the same standard, then fingers crossed for the new lawn on the night of the game.
I think we'll be all right. I know it's going to be cold, but you know the frost sheets are down. So yeah, I don't envisage any problems with the pitch.
And how important is it to keep ticking games over? Because what you don't want is too many postponements at this stage of the season and games stacking up, is it?
We don't want any. We don't want any, and thankfully, because of the pitch we've got, when the decision was made in the summer to redo the pitch, when Dale and Asif spoke to me about it and said, what would you prefer, what would you like, and I just said, well, the only thing is if we do get that pitch, and I know we're talking about frost on this occasion, but with some of the weather that we get now, some of the rain that we get, the deluges of it, it's fantastic. The drainage that we have they're incredible on these new pitches, incredible. So I didn't envisage any games being called off this season. I know the frost one is always a tricky one, but I think we'll be okay. We got 3 really good groundsmen. They're great lads, and they work really, really hard on a day-to-day basis. Where not a lot of people will see that. We see them, most mornings, and they do a great job, and they're great guys.
Yeah, it's all very well having the kit, but also you've got to have the endeavour to go with it, isn't it?
You've got to have the people. Any football club's about the people that perhaps work at it, and they're the unsung people that do, sometimes a thankless task. They're putting divots back every single day where we train, and the players and myself will actually turn up, and and then they're back to being brand new again the following day. So they're great guys. I think at this time of year, and especially when there's a lot of games, the pitches probably haven't had the tender care that they would have had, but that's because there's so much work on them, and then the weather on top of it. So they've done a brilliant job. We have 3 great guys, and they're really, really important to the team.
And Dagenham, what do you make of them?
Well, they've changed a fair bit. Their starting lineup has changed a fair bit over the last couple of months, but we've watched more of their recent games, and it will be another test for us. We know that we don't take any game lightly. We do our work, and we've done that again. So it is just another game for us. But every game's important at the moment because we've been doing well.
And they didn't play at the weekend.
Yeah.
How much of a difference can that make if a team comes to you when they're fresh? I guess, actually, that happened to you at the weekend as well.
Yeah, well, it happens. It happened to us early in the season when we had a run of games, and I think then Halifax hadn't played for 10 days or something like that. So there is nothing we can do about that. Absolutely nothing we can do about it. So sometimes, though, what can happen when you do have the games and you have a clean bill of health and everybody's okay, you get good rhythm. So at the moment, we're in good rhythm, and hopefully we can continue that.
And Joe Quigley got off the mark at the weekend in the trophy. How important could that be going forward for you? What,
Joe scoring?
Yeah, in terms of getting off the mark.
It won't make any difference to me, really. It's probably more for Joe, because he's played very, very well for us, and whenever he's played, I think at the weekend I thought Harry Cardwell was excellent. I know I've diversified and gone on to Joe there, but I thought Harry was first class at the weekend, and and Joe was the first one to thank Harry for his contribution, and obviously certainly the first bit towards his goal as well. So it's like, as I said at the time, it's easy when you're scoring goals, and it's difficult when you're not. But Joe never let his head drop. done some unbelievable work for the team. Immensely popular in the dressing room. So yeah, we're delighted to have him here. We're very, very lucky in terms of, the three boys that have played the majority of the season with Christian, with Joe and with Harry. We're very, very lucky. We've worked really hard to get those players, and we're really pleased that we've got them.
Week to week, obviously you go horses for courses, but how difficult is it making those decisions because you've got three such good strikers?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily difficult for me to make the decision because I'll weigh up who we're playing against and what I think perhaps the strengths and weaknesses are. I think the hardest thing is probably having to leave the other two out. It's not necessarily the one I pick, it's what I feel for the other two. So, but the only thing is you can't survive on really one striker. We only had Christian really last year that was doing well enough at the level to be playing every week, and look where that got us. So it's better having the difficult situations of leaving people out of the team as opposed to having no choice. We flogged Christian Doidge last year. We flogged him. Had we been in that situation, this situation last year, and even if we had Joe and we had Harry, I think that would have really helped us last year. So, I know there's hard decisions to make, but you've got to make those. I think if you don't make those hard decisions or those, selection dilemmas that you have rumbling around in your head for a couple of days before you have to deliver them to the players, that is a far better situation than having one where you think, God, I hope Christian's going to be all right again this week. I hope Christian's going to be all right again this week. You'd be holding your breath every moment in training as well. So, it's a good dilemma to have.
How's Jordan Garrick's fitness work progressing? Obviously, he's had a couple of cameos off of the bench, but is he in a position to be able to sort of?
No,
not yet.
No. Jordan's got to do a lot of work. It's not just having the summer off. We're talking 7 months from when he last played. So I knew when I brought him in, I made that decision quickly after I thought about our telephone conversation for a week. I made that decision quickly to get him in with the boys because he's going to need a lot of training. And he has had cameos, and he still might have cameos. The only thing I will say, for the first time this week, I've noticed a difference in him. He's gone up a gear from where he was in the last 2 weeks. There's definitely a step in him. So if we carry on working him and we get that next step, then he's going to be close.
Finally, I haven't mentioned about Dagenham still being in the FA Cup. Obviously, they'll have confidence from who they've beaten. It goes to show how dangerous they can be. But what chance of them being a little bit distracted ahead of the weekend?
Probably no chance. I certainly wouldn't fall for that one, and neither will the guys. We won't do that. As I said, full respect. Every game's a tough game. We just want to do well. Brilliant that Dagenham have gone and done what they've done in the FA Cup, and I hope they really, really go and enjoy their game against Millwall. But our focus would be totally on us.